Thunder Bay residents head to the polls. The Hope Classic ends its 25-year run. And the UK has another new Prime Minister. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We're now just 2 hours away from the polls closing on another municipal election. Results are expected to start coming in shortly after 8 o'clock tonight. Back in 2018, just over half of eligible Thunder Bay residents cast a ballot. Believe it or not, that was one of the highest turnouts in Ontario. And City Returning Officer Krista Power is confident that we can hit that 50% mark once again.
And as of 4 o'clock today, 5,700 people have voted in person and 3,300 have voted online today. And again, that's at 4 o'clock today. People are going to see this later in the day, certainly. So more than 27,000 people of eligible voters have come to the polls as of this point in the election.
There have been more voting options than ever this year. In addition to in-person polls, online and drive-through voting has also been available. Polls close at 8 o'clock, but as long as you're in line to vote by that time, you'll still be allowed to cast your ballot. There were some delays this morning with the voting portal that affected more than 100 municipalities across the province. Power says it was a minor inconvenience and voters can be confident their ballots are being counted.
Sometimes there was a 10 to 15 to 20 second lapse, which certainly caused some concern by the computer operators at the polling stations. It was reported immediately. We worked with VoterView. They had a server issue that was updated in a quite quick order. So really it was just about patience. Nothing was offline, nothing was not secure. It was just a little bit of a small lag in actually accessing the portal to ensure that we're properly crossing you off the voters list.
Power reminds voters to double-check their ballots as well. Any extra marks on a ballot, or if you've accidentally voted for too many candidates, that will result in you having to fill it out again. Plenty of voters turned out at the polling station at the Thunder Bay 55 Plus Centre on River Street this morning. That was one of the polls where the portal system went down for a few minutes just as voting began at 10 a.m., causing some delays and increased wait times. But fortunately, those issues, as we heard, were resolved quickly and things got back on track. We spoke to some of the voters about why they wanted to be part of the democratic process to elect city council members and school board trustees.
It's important to vote because we can really enact change in this community, and that's where we're going to see it a lot with voting. You know, when we vote federally, we don't really see it down here, but this is where it really counts.
We have to know what's going on in our community and make a difference in what's being said and done. And by voting, we get that chance to have a say in it.
Voting is a privilege, and it's something I've always done, thanks to my parents' good example. It means that we have a say in the way our city is run, and our province and our federal government.
I'm an immigrant to this country. I've been here for 50 years, but I still feel that my voice needs to be heard. And the only way it's going to be heard is if I vote for it.
It should have some input into who's running where and what they're doing and keep the country going properly.
I've always voted, and once you vote, then you've done your job, and it's very important that everybody gets out and vote today. I can't wait till we figure out who's going to be our mayor.
Again, those polling stations will stay open until 8 o'clock. And you can join us tonight as soon as the polls close for Thunder Bay Votes, our joint TBT News and TBNewsWatch.com coverage of the 2022 Thunder Bay municipal election. We'll be with you from 8 to 10 p.m. on CKPR Thunder Bay and on TB News Watch with live analysis from here in our studio and from City Hall with our news director Leith Dunnick and City Hall reporter Ian Kaufman. We'll also have live candidate interviews from our reporters in the field. Tune in this evening for Thunder Bay Votes. Also, don't miss our regularly scheduled late edition news at 11 o'clock where we'll recap the winners and offer some final thoughts. Again, we'll have full election coverage on Thunder Bay Votes from 8 to 10 and then on our late edition news at 11 o'clock. Across Ontario, there are some high-profile candidates looking to hold on to their jobs, including Toronto mayoral candidate John Tory, who is seeking a third term in office. Austin Delaney reports.
John Tory casting his ballot just as the polls opened this morning.
One of the nice ladies I ran into there asked me if I voted for myself, and I said, sure did.
Tory's main competitor, Gil Penalosa, rode his bicycle to the polling station.
I'm very optimistic. I think that the citizens have two very different options. I think that I have very clearly defined how we can become more affordable, more equitable, and more sustainable, creating a city for everyone.
Advanced polls have shown voter apathy this election, but at this polling station, voters say it is one's duty to vote.
I think it's hard for young people to feel educated because they have to do a lot of the research themselves.
Well, look at the number of candidates for mayor, you know.
In what way?
There's way too many. How could I have an informed vote?
I think if they engage with this thing emotionally, there ought not be any apathy. I don't really know why anyone would be apathetic about an opportunity to have an essential role in how your city is managed.
The new mayor will have a very different looking council, with 7 seats not being contested by incumbents.
I'm happy when there are new faces on council, not because I didn't get along with the people who were there before, but I just think renewal is a good thing, and it happens on a gradual basis, election to election. And, you know, the bad news is that we have some people with great experience that have left. The good news is we've got some new people with fresh ideas.
Penalosa says he brought fresh ideas to the mayoral campaign.
I think that I have raised a lot of issues that had not been raised for 12 years before.
And Tory says he can work with anyone who wants to work with him.
That was CTV's Austin Delaney reporting. Well, in non-election news, one of the gold mines in Red Lake has suspended operations indefinitely. According to Pure Gold Mining, the company is at risk of defaulting on debt obligations if it's not able to secure outside funding. In a statement released today, Pure Gold indicated that the mine will be placed into care and maintenance mode immediately. The company would not provide information as to how many workers are affected by the suspension of its operations. Production began in August of 2021 at the site of the former Madsen mine. The company notes despite recent increases in productivity and decreases in operating costs, the mine hasn't achieved consistently positive cash flow. Pure Gold says it's still evaluating options, including a possible sale or restructuring of the mine. The 25th annual Bearskin Airlines Hope Classic held its closing ceremony yesterday afternoon, where organizers made the surprising announcement that this year's bonspiel will be the last. There were tears of joy and sadness as they celebrated everyone who participated, thanked sponsors, and reminisced about the impact the fundraiser has had over the last 25 years. More than $121,000 was raised this year, and the organizers said they couldn't be happier with how the event turned out. Over the years, the Hope Classic raised more than $3.4 million. Cliff Friesen, the bonspiel's original sponsor, says it was a good 25-year run, but it's time to move on.
We've all been here for 25 years, which is a long time, and we have a lot of things that we want to do in our future as we are retired, and we'd like to be able to travel, and this is a full-time job. It's time, and we'd like to have it end on a high note, which is what it did today.
For me, it's extremely emotional because I've been on the committee for 25 years and I was the chair for 20, so it's emotional for me. It was a big decision, but it's time for a change.
Childs and Friesen want to thank all the sponsors, community partners, and residents who've helped grow the event over the years, and they note that Linda Buchan's legacy will continue on through the Linda Buchan Center. Thunder-based startup company BioNorth Solutions was recently named the winner of the Northern Ontario Innovation Challenge, a competition led by BioEnterprise Canada. BioNorth develops bacterial-based products that help with soil cleaning and plant growth, which they hope will help keep plants healthy across Northern Ontario. Mike Lang reports.
In 2014, Lakehead University alumni Amber Cavisto and Dr. Miranda Locke combined their knowledge in business and biochemistry to establish BioNorth Solutions, a small company of only 7 people who work to create microbe-based products for plants. Their business grew from the ground up, starting with a soil cleansing product, Microbiate SG, that cleans oil and gas spills in soil without having to landfill them, and eventually they shifted their focus to plant growth. BioEnterprise Canada recognized their efforts with a $5,000 reward, a year's worth of mentoring, and first place in their online innovation challenge.
We all gave a collective cheer. It was pretty exciting. We didn't expect to win, so it was a great day for all of us to be here. It started 10 o'clock in the morning, I believe, with the pitches, and by noon we knew. So while the judges were chatting, we collectively chatted, and then they came back and said that we were the lucky recipients.
Next up, continued expansion with a move out of their current Cumberland Street office and preparing stock of their new product line for next spring.
We're getting ready to launch our PGP products next year, which are PGP2R and PGP4. And these really help with plant growth promotion, so you get bigger yield, increased germination, healthier plants, and you can use less fertilizer, so it's an organic way of growing and using less chemicals.
Mike Lang, TBT News.
A new website has been created to help remember the women who made victory possible during the Second World War, women who worked right here in the Lakehead. The Rosies of the North website shares the stories of nearly 4,000 women who assembled 2,300 aircraft at the former Canada Car plant. The new Rosies interactive website is a project of the Friends of the Finnish Labour Temple. It features information gathered from archives and families of the wartime employees. The materials, which were digitized by LU history students, show how women took on increasingly important roles throughout the war. The website comes more than 20 years after film producer Kelly Saxberg released the documentary Rosies of the North. She explains the importance of recognizing the Rosies and all the women who supported the war effort at home.
Without the industrial might, really, of North America, the war against Hitler would not have been won by the Allies. Like, really, they needed all hands on deck. And the fact that women stepped up to the plate, and then they really found pride in themselves.
The project is supported by a grant from the Thunder Bay Community Foundation. A popular Halloween festival is returning to Thunder Bay's North Core. The 15th edition of The Hunger is a fundraiser for the Definitely Superior Art Gallery. Downtown Port Arthur will transform into a massive party filled with music, performances, and costumes. 50 acts will be performed across 7 venues, including the Foundry, Black Pirates Pub, and Atmos. Various genres of music will play throughout the night by local and out-of-town artists. No advance tickets are being sold. Instead, wristbands can be purchased at any of the participating venues on Saturday, October 29th, starting at 9 p.m., but you should arrive early. Organizer Renee Terpstra says it's nice to be able to hold the Hunger again after a 2-year hiatus.
I know that the performers, bands, and DJs, they're all really excited as well, because performing for people is what they really live for. So it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like a new lease on life. It's quite exciting. And people are starting to, just come out and start to enjoy those things again. So that's really wonderful to see, things returning to that lifeblood of the community, which is arts and culture.
This year's event will support Phase 2 renovations at DefSup's new gallery. The full performance schedule can be found on the Definitely Superior website. Families have been flocking to Gammondale Farm over the past few weeks for the 28th annual Pumpkin Fest, and now there's only one weekend left to celebrate the season with those family-friendly activities. Jessica Clement reports.
Gammondale Farm has been bringing the celebration of autumn through Pumpkin Fest for the past 28 years. The festival takes place over 6 weekends every fall, and families from all over the region come out to appreciate the outdoors. Pumpkin Fest tickets can be purchased online for $17.75 per person and gives visitors the chance to participate in the various activities offered, including picking a pumpkin, seeing farm animals, riding the pumpkin train, as well as seeing the country's largest pumpkin catapult launch a pumpkin through the air. Gammondale Farm owner Sue Gammon says it's been a wonderful time so far, with families and young adults coming out and enjoying the many attractions and photo opportunities.
The fall is a wonderful time to get out and be in the country, and families come to be with each other and enjoy the animals that we have and the little activities that we have. Interestingly, we have a lot of young people, not small children, but young adults who come, and I think what they're doing is taking pictures and selfies and just plain having fun.
Gammon says she loves seeing the smiles on everyone's faces and that it motivates her to bring the event back every year. We spoke to some kids who are all eager to talk about their favorite activity.
The Boo Barn. Because it's just so spooky. And then, like, when you disco in the beginning, like, it's all black. You can just hear evil laugh. The Boo Barn. Because the person tells a story and it's super scary because I have my friend going on the horses.
Why is the horse your favorite?
Because it's fun.
If you haven't had the chance to visit Pumpkin Fest yet, don't worry. You'll have one last chance next weekend from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Jessica Clement, TVT News.
Good to see the kids having a lot of fun and Jessa having a lot of fun out there at that event. And Fiona, better over the weekend than today because we did see some rain this morning and it's been a cloudy one.
Yeah, it was very cloudy, very wet in the overnight hours, just a few showers in the morning, but the heat was still definitely on. A low of 11 and a high of 18. Normally at this time of year, our daytime high is around 9 Celsius, so we doubled that with winds for the most part from the east, 17 to 22 kilometers per hour. Now, Fort Frances actually topped out with a high of 20 about 3 hours ago, and then temperatures have plummeted since then. In 3 hours, it has dropped 8 degrees. They're currently at 12 Celsius, despite the fact they're still enjoying a few vestiges of a little bit of sunshine before the sun completely drops. Kenora is currently at 9 and Red Lake at 12. Sioux Lookout, 16 Celsius. They've had rain off and on for the last little bit. They're at 12 Celsius in Armstrong, 15 in Greenstone under cloudy skies. Marathon's currently sitting at 18 and Sault Ste. Marie a touch cooler, believe it or not, than Marathon at 16 Celsius under mostly cloudy skies. Now, tonight, it's going to be a little bit cooler. We're going to drop down to 7 Celsius, but that's still way above normal for this time of year. We should actually be below freezing at this point, but 7 Celsius under mostly cloudy skies. We could see a couple of showers still move through, but for the most part, by tomorrow, that system that has been bringing the rain through will have moved out. It's a fairly narrow band, and after that, it's looking pretty dry for the next few days. Unfortunately, you're also going to see temperatures cool down quite remarkably, and much more normal conditions will prevail for the rest of the week. I'll have more details later on in the news hour.
It sounded pretty good until the end there. Thanks a lot, Fiona. Well, could the political upheaval finally be at an end in the UK? There's a new prime minister in place there, the third in less than 2 months. We'll have all the details as your Monday News Hour continues.